Sure. The sonar technician almost missed it. Buried under thousands of oceanic pings, it was a perfect silence, an absence where there should have been chaos. No coral, no sediment movement, just a massive dead zone beneath 11,000 meters of pressure. He pinged again. Same result. The shape was too geometrically perfect for nature, and too massive to be ignored. Within 36 hours, the data reached the right people. A joint task force from 3 nations quietly rerouted deep-sea recovery teams under the guise of volcanic research. A platform was established. Drones sent below relayed footage that changed everything. What they found wasn't a ruin. It wasn't a wreck. It was intact. Alien metal, smooth, scarred with unfamiliar geometry, sat embedded in silt, seemingly undisturbed by time or pressure. The size of a battleship, shaped like a stingray, with glowing seams pulsing faintly beneath centuries of coral. They called it Object Pacific Theta. Crews got to work immediately, under strict blackout. AI systems were deployed to scan without triggering potential trap. The hull absorbed most signals, but strange backscatter indicated layers within layers, shifting internal architecture. No entrances, no markings. It had no propulsion ports, no weapon hardpoints. And yet, everyone agreed, this wasn't debris. This was parked. Over the next few weeks, controlled excavation began. The silt around the craft was unusually dense, fused with melted quartz. Something hot buried it, possibly intentionally. Divers recovered shards from surrounding zones, unlike anything in human metallurgy. Pressure-resistant, adaptive alloys, reacting faintly to electromagnetic pulses. Scientists called them liquid memory alloys. The buzz was electric. The deeper they dug, the more the objects seemed to respond. Not aggressively, but observantly. Devices began showing minor feedback fluctuations. One drone shut off completely, only to reboot with its software restructured, optimized. The onboard engineers didn't program it. The hardware didn't support self-rewriting. But it had happened. No one panicked. They documented. The working theory. This wasn't just a ship. It was an intelligence, dormant, observing. When they finally touched the hull directly with insulated manipulators, the entire ship responded. Its seams lit up with a blue-white glow. Patterns raced across the surface, then went dark. No alarms. No threats. But something inside shifted. 2 days later, underwater satellites picked up a ping, a high-frequency signal bouncing through the ocean. Then a second. Triangulation confirmed they were coming from deep within the ship. It wasn't calling for help. It was scanning Earth. The team's priority shifted to surface containment. Everything brought up was routed to a secure compound off the Australian coast. Technologists, linguists, physicists, even archaeologists were flown in. Under NDA, they were told, "This is post-biological. Treat it like an artifact, but be prepared for it to think back." 1 month in, power was rerouted to a small control node. Using lasers, they began sending binary signals, hoping for a response. Nothing came for days. Then, a response blinked back, binary but non-repeating. At first, they thought it was code. It was a map, not of space but of itself. An internal schematic drawn in logic pulses. Within that hour, power readings surged. Instruments blew. The node began blinking rhythmically, almost like breathing. The alien architecture was rearranging, configuring to Earth gravity. The internal sections were aligning. It was trying to make itself usable. 6 scientists quit the next morning. 2 refused to touch it again. The rest kept going. Reverse engineering began cautiously. Interfaces were found that responded to proximity. DNA-level scans activated dormant systems. The ship didn't reject humans. It began translating. Not linguistically, but ergonomically. Interfaces adjusted to fit human limbs. Chairs reshaped themselves. Holographic menus shifted into readable symbols. It wasn't adapting, it was recognizing. Within another week, an experimental pilot interface was tested. The ship linked with one of the engineers via neural resonance. Without verbal commands, it moved, rotated, extended parts, shifted internal compartments. It began trusting. Power output jumped exponentially. At its peak, the ship pulled enough raw energy from seawater to power half of Tokyo. But no heat, no emissions. It was clean, silent, purposeful. When the team accessed a projection chamber, it showed something unexpected. Other vessels in different systems marked with red indicators. One was dangerously close. Earth wasn't alone. At that exact moment, observatories around the globe noted abnormal shifts in Lagrange points. Satellites were moving, some not human-made. Optical telescopes caught faint glints, objects accelerating from the outer solar system. Trajectories curved unnaturally, using physics that didn't match propulsion or gravity slingshot. They weren't just approaching. They were hiding. Someone, somewhere out there, had noticed their ship was missing. And now it was active. Panic rippled behind closed doors. Military branches escalated alert levels. Intelligence agencies quietly scrubbed record. But it was too late for secrecy. Anonymous leaks hit the deep web, blurry images of the object, enhanced sonar maps, radiation patterns that didn't match any Earth-based tech. Independent scientists began decoding the patterns. The world buzzed. The UN held an emergency closed-door session. A vote was made. Transparency to prevent panic. They would acknowledge the discovery. That never happened. Before the press conference could be held, something intervened. The object sent a signal. Not outward, but into Earth's low orbit. Every functioning satellite received a 14-millisecond burst of structured data. Within seconds, every internet-connected device with a camera activated. A cascade of images appeared, brief flashes of Earth's wildlife, oceans, cities, languages. A message written in symbols and images. Recognition, understanding, peace. And a warning. More images followed. Star systems, craft, species, wreckage, a galactic dumping ground. Then it stopped. That was the moment humanity collectively understood. This wasn't a gift. This was disposal. The ship wasn't forgotten, it was discarded. Not because it was dangerous, but because whoever left it considered Earth beneath consideration. The insult turned into obsession. Humanity doubled down. Military budgets redirected into tech labs. Aerospace companies recruited gamers, hackers, physicists. A hybrid field team was built. The ship's systems were studied, copied, and rebuilt. First tests were crude, hovering platforms, energy shields the size of dinner plates. But they worked. And they weren't years away. They were happening now. The ship kept giving. It allowed access to weapons nobody could activate. But it hinted at what they were. Not explosives, defensives, antimatter shields, gravitic distortion fields. Not for conquering, for surviving. Whoever built this had enemies. Real ones. Then came the internal archive. A linguistic AI finally cracked the interface. Hundreds of thousands of log entries spilled out. Coordinates, combat records, crew diagnostics, all wiped clean except one repeating entry. Quarantine drop. Sector 4992Z. No return. Non-compliant biosphere. Do not engage. Earth. Humanity. Non-compliant. 3 light-years away, a meeting convened in the gravity-sheathed chamber of a multi-species tribunal. 17 voices spoke in layered frequencies. The news had reached them. The quarantined planet had activated the wreck. Worse, they had begun integrating it. Probes had confirmed modular separations. Subterranean energy spike. Biological signatures matching a Category 7 emergent species. The term was spoken quietly, escalation. A unanimous vote passed. Dispatch a first strike observation fleet. Not to engage yet. Observe. Threat assessment. Categorize risk. They didn't expect retaliation. They expected another primitive world fumbling with technology they couldn't comprehend. They didn't know Earth had already begun building its own version. By the time the first alien drones entered Earth's orbit, human scientists had duplicated the ship's control algorithm in part. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional. Anti-grav nodes embedded into steel chassis. Energy routing cores adapted to lithium matrices. A test platform hovered over the Pacific. It moved without jets. Silently. It responded to thought. The drones arrived cloaked, designed for passive data extraction. But they underestimated the reach of Earth's new sensors. The ship had taught humanity how to see between spectrums. A ground-based relay caught the cloaked signal and mapped its orbital decay. Orders were issued. A railgun prototype locked on. One drone was vaporized before its footage transmitted. The others retreated, but not before Earth's AI embedded a message into their signal. It's ours now. Come and see. Across the galaxy, panic set in. Humanity wasn't supposed to be ready. They weren't even supposed to know. Yet within months of exposure, they had activated, understood, and begun to replicate alien tech that took civilizations thousands of years to refine. The tribunal deployed a deeper probe. A stealth carrier with limited crew and a failsafe for sterilization if the situation warranted. Earth's leadership was split. One faction argued for secrecy and restraint. Another demanded reverse offensive measures. The public was divided. Rumors spread faster than official statements. But beneath every opinion was the same truth. The world was waking up to a higher game, and it was far too late to bow out. The ship responded again. New compartments opened. Armory sections, archives, and simulation pods designed to train organic minds on unfamiliar systems. Humanity entered. They learned. It didn't matter if some doubted. Enough believed. Enough were willing to act. Pilots trained inside graviton fields. Soldiers walked with adaptive armor that recalibrated per impact. Engineers spoke in pulses instead of words. Code became command. Hardware grew organically. Cities lit up with controlled energy flux. Earth wasn't just experimenting. It was adapting. The stealth carrier arrived undetected. Or so it believed. But the ship had buried sensors in the oceans, sky, and orbit. The carrier was flagged before it entered Earth's upper thermosphere. A passive scan decrypted its composition, crew count, and weaponry. The AI suggested a non-lethal neutralization. The humans declined. They wanted it intact. Interceptors launched. Hybrid craft, Earth-forged with alien skeletons. The battle was over in under 2 minutes. The carrier was disabled, tractor lifted, and brought down. Its crew was extracted. They expected to be executed. Instead, they were questioned. The alien commander said nothing for 12 hours. When it finally spoke, its voice shook. You were a seed world. Unstable. Prone to cycles of collapse. No one expected you to rise. A human replied. You left fire in the forest and called it safe. The tribunal received the report. The carrier was captured. The humans were no longer theoretical. They were active players. Several member species demanded an immediate containment strike. But others hesitated. Fear now had a shape, rapid adaptability. Humanity didn't need millennia. It needed months. In the shadows of Earth's lunar orbit, construction began. Orbital frames seeded with gravitic cores. Not for war yet. For preparation. For deterrence. The message was sent again. We understand your weapons. We don't need them. We're making better ones. A second probe reached Earth. This one carried a diplomat, a synthetic avatar layered in political coding and defensive tech. It requested parley. Humanity agreed. The meeting was brief. The diplomat demanded return of the ship, deactivation of reverse-engineered tech, and submission to monitoring for 90 planetary years. The response came from an engineer, not a politician. Finders. Keepers. The diplomat returned to its ship. 2 hours later, it self-destructed, erasing its memory core. The tribunal panicked again. Signals were sent to their outer colonies. Prepare for resistance. Begin informational containment. Do not allow other civilizations to see the pattern. Earth's rise must look like a fluke, not a framework. It was too late. Footage leaked from minor species under Dominion rule. They saw Earth's interceptors. The way the ship had been absorbed. The unity despite difference. No caste, no ancient bloodline. Just cleverness, audacity, willingness to touch what others feared. One race, the Dralin, sent a whisper across space. Teach us. Humans responded with coordinates and an offer. Trade. Within a week, 2 more races followed. By the end of the month, 6. Galactic influence began to fracture. And the First War hadn't even started. Within Earth, debate intensified. Some feared backlash. Others pushed forward. The ship revealed more. Code layers describing ancient wars. Weapon schematics for gravitational disruptors, temporal anchors, void mines. The blueprints were there. The ship was opening up fully. It recognized not authority but potential. A message appeared inside its core chamber. 3 words, not translated, but understood. Finish our defiance. Earth's military-industrial complex merged into a singular thinknet. Territorial lines blurred. Scientists from rival nations co-developed first-generation hybrid destroyers. By the time the tribunal moved its fleets, Earth had a fleet of its own. Not bigger. Smarter. They weren't waiting for attack. They were preparing for arrival. Alien analysts warned the Council. Do not engage. We don't understand them. They break sequence logic. They make weapons from ideas. The Council ignored it. They sent 5 ships. A deterrent. Only 1 returned. Damaged. Silent. Pilot missing. Humans didn't celebrate. They calibrated. They learned from the wreckage. Integrated more. And then they made an announcement. Not through formal channels. Not with diplomat. They sent a signal into open space, one all species could receive. It was short. We didn't ask for your war. But we'll win it if you bring it. And the stars blinked back. The captured alien commander watched from a reinforced cell. When asked what frightened him, he didn't mention weapons. He said, "You move like a virus, but you build like fire." In hidden corners of the galaxy, rebellion brewed. Minor races hoarded fragments of old technology. They shared them, traded, replicated. It started with 1 ship in the ocean. Now it was 10. In orbit. Alive. The gate stabilized 3 hours before the first vessel passed through. Not a warship. A scout. Light, fast, minimal crew, engineered entirely from hybrid tech and human creativity. It passed through a corridor of folded space without resistance. On the other side, it emerged in open territory, uncharted, resource-rich, unclaimed. Humanity had done what others feared, reached beyond threat range, and claimed a future. Reports came back clean. No immediate opposition. The crew named the system Mir, after the old Russian word for peace. Colony pods followed. Modular, self-expanding, AI-assisted infrastructure. Within 1 rotation, humans had placed a permanent marker on another star system. Not with conquest. With certainty. The tribunal met again. The psychological model no longer fit. Humanity had skipped predictable growth stages. They didn't consolidate. They expanded. They didn't negotiate for safety. They created it. A new term was introduced to the Council's threat database, Post-Adaptive Rapid Strategist, PARS. 1 species qualified, Earth. A second gate was built. This one opened to contested space. Minor powers had long fought over a planet rich in subcrystalline energy. No one claimed it openly. Everyone fought over it secretly. When the human fleet arrived, it didn't fire. It transmitted. This system is open to all. No weapons allowed. Trade permitted. Violate this, and you face collective judgment. 3 factions tested them. 2 retreated. The 3rd refused. The human flagship responded with silent kinetic. The enemy ship vanished in a blue flash. Not vaporized, relocated to deep space via gravitic displacement. A warning without death. Brutality replaced by precision. The message was heard galaxy-wide. In the weeks that followed, dozens of smaller species opened diplomatic channels with Earth. No intermediaries, no permission sought. They wanted to learn, to trade, to join. Not in empire, but in exchange. A new model took shape. Voluntary coalition built on technological sharing and mutual defense. Humans didn't offer superiority. They offered access, and others followed. Inside Earth's original recovered vessel, the AI made a decision. It began replicating itself, fragmenting core intelligences and embedding unique subroutines. These weren't clones. They were siblings, linked but autonomous. Each new ship bonded with human minds differently, some with tacticians, others with scientists, some with poets. The fleet became more than tools. It became a family, a collective of sentient vessels bound by choice, not programming. Alien empires watched with growing anxiety. Their fleets, bound by tradition and hierarchy, couldn't adapt fast enough. Their scientists proposed containment again. But by the time their council ratified a response, Earth had deployed a third gate, this time toward the galactic core. That was the breaking point. The Austrian Confederacy, third largest military bloc in known space, launched a full fleet. 72 capital ships, hundreds of escorts, declared intent: disable Earth's gates, reclaim the rogue technology, and neutralize the threat. Earth responded immediately. Not with fear. With clarity. A message was broadcast to the entire galaxy. We are not the mistake. We are the correction. The Austrian fleet entered Earth's sector within a standard week. Defensive arrays tracked them from 30 light seconds out. Humanity didn't fire first. They opened channels, offered terms. The Confederacy rejected them. The battle lasted 17 minutes. Human forces didn't deploy traditional weapons. They used inertial shear fields to sever ship integrity. They deployed anti-mimetic drones that erased enemy targeting data in real time. They reshaped the battlespace into a logic trap. Ships couldn't process what they were seeing fast enough to respond. The few that survived powered down and broadcast surrender. For the first time in galactic history, an empire retreated without inflicting a single casualty. The survivors were given resources and map, told to return home safely. The galaxy didn't cheer. It went silent. The illusion was gone. The ancient powers were not eternal. The rules were no longer unbreakable. The tribunal fragmented. 4 members defected. 2 were overthrown. Others disappeared. In the vacuum, new voices rose, races long suppressed, now emboldened by Earth's defiance. Across dozens of systems, rebellions ignited. Not violent, declarative. Planets severed ties, formed new networks, used Earth's open-source tech to defend their skies. A decentralized alliance formed overnight. No hierarchy, only agreements. Back on Earth, the original ship's final core unlocked. A chamber untouched until now. Inside it, a time-coded message. A face formed in light. Not human. Not recognizable. It spoke in a reconstructed voice. We were like you once. Fast. Hungry. Disobedient. We tried to change everything. They called us dangerous. Unstable. So they cast us into dark systems and silenced our name. But we knew another would come. One who could finish what we began. The message ended. Another fragment followed, coordinates. A location beyond mapped space. A final signal. Earth assembled its best minds. Debated for 3 days. Then voted. They would go. The expedition launched not in secrecy, but in ceremony. A fleet of 20. Hybrid. Sentient. Paired with humans who no longer thought of themselves as pilots, but partners. They crossed systems in days. Approached the dead sector. Found ruins. Hollowed moons. Broken constructs orbiting collapsed stars. And a beacon still pulsing. They entered. Inside was a vault of history. Another archive. One Earth's AI couldn't open alone. But humanity could. The data unfolded. Not in files. In memories. Streams of thought. Blueprints, warnings. The rebellion hadn't failed. It had seeded the future. The humans weren't successors. They were continuation. A thread pulled tight across centuries, now caught in human hands. They returned home changed. They didn't announce the contents of the vault. They didn't need to. Instead, they opened a new gate. One that didn't go anywhere familiar. One that pointed into the dark. And people lined up to enter. Not warriors. Builders. Dreamers. Races ready to leave behind cycles of control. A new age began. The galaxy watched as the youngest intelligent species became the one shaping its future. Not through conquest, but by daring to evolve faster than fear could follow. And Earth, once ignored, discarded, and quarantined, became the center of something no tribunal had ever predicted. A voluntary future, where curiosity outranked control, and no one would ever dump their broken machines on a primitive world again. Because that primitive world had risen. And it didn't ask for permission. It asked one question. What's next?